So I heard this story.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody told me that somebody had a special event, like a graduation or prom or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and they went and they wanted somebody else to go,
Mm-hmm.
and that person decided to go to a food pantry
Mm-hmm.
instead of go to the graduation. They have food. It's there, it's like like a grandchild,
Mm-hmm.
and they chose to do that instead of go to their grandchild's thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, what are your thoughts on that?
So we always want something from other people. And when they don't do what we expect, we don't understand, right? Like you said, the person wanted the other person to go to the thing. That other person didn't go, and this person doesn't understand. So with life, the life we live, we're not living it, it's just being lived, right? We just happen to be here at this time in our lives, right? But we have no control, no influence, nothing to do with it. And to not understand that means, why would you not go? Like, what's going on? To understand means, I don't know why, but I'm not gonna do it. But you know what I mean? It's like, what are you gonna do? Like, it's like to not understand is to say, I don't understand, or to question, or to say, why would you do that, or what was going on? What, until a person is ready to explain or even wants to say anything, it's nothing you can do but literally live your life the best way you can, because to get caught up in trying to figure it out would make that other person's life harder than it needs to be.
Yeah, but so I haven't told you like the whole situation, but it like triggered me a little bit because I've been in situations where people have chosen other better things over me. Like I literally just got over it like yesterday. So I read like some articles and some things about different types of people and personalities. So I read that narcissistic personalities would literally try to ruin special occasions like birthdays, anniversaries, things that are very significant, vacations, things that are very significant, and they'll just crap all over it just to be spiteful. So I didn't tell you the real situation, but it just sounded so mean-spirited and bizarre. And it's almost like asking for a person to explode at you because you want the attention. And what I told the person that expressed that to me was like, hold your peace, because obviously from this type of move, like, it's no real good explanation. So don't even bother asking for one, because if you ask for an explanation, it's going to turn into an argument, a fight, super frustration, because it makes absolutely no sense. So something that occurs weekly that you don't even need, put as a priority, as a once in a lifetime opportunity to experience this with your family. I can't make this up. Like, it blew my socks off that this type of thing is happening. Like, what do you do? Like, what do you do with that? Like, I understand what you're saying, but at the end of the day, being a human being, like, you gotta feel that, especially like from a mother figure, a sister figure, somebody that's really close to you. How can you just say, oh well, it is what it is?
Yeah, I think to me, it's like what I've learned on my journey through life. I think TD Jakes talked about this before too. So he talked about, like, as you get to certain, it's not ages, because age is made up. Age is just a number. As you get to certain stages of wisdom and growth in your life, you start to see things for what they are. And as you go through life, you're gonna go through challenges where it's like you're saying, that does not make sense. And what I've learned throughout my life, the more I think I understand, like, just life in general or people, it's like it's the opposite way. Like, and it got to a point where I'm like, okay, you know what? It's literally like we talk about. It's to let go and to let God, right? So to let go and to let God, that means like with this situation, yeah, in your mind, what in the world? That doesn't make sense. But to understand, it's like, and to trust God, however, whatever the present moment is, regardless, like you said, it's a graduation. If wherever I am is exactly where I'm supposed to be, and I can't control anybody else's life. You know what I mean? Because to understand that, it is frustrating if that's something that happened and you don't understand it, right?
Right. But I guess what I think about the situation is, if a person is already in a vulnerable state where they felt lots of hurt, lots of neglect, lots of looking over from this particular person, like, is this person expected to still be very active and present and in their life? Or if they pull back, are they now a bad person because they're like, this boundary is crossed, you know, like, that's tough because, it's that relationship, that mother, daughter, sister,
Yep.
close-knit relationship.
I think that's the thing. So it's weird. This is what's interesting to me and what I've learned throughout my journey. We as we're human beings, so we don't know any better, but it's like, I know me and I know what I think and what I do, what I have done in situations. That's the only thing I wouldn't even say speak to. It's like I did what I did, and for another person in that situation, like you're saying, the other person to do what they did, that made sense to them. Now, a lot of times what we don't understand is, like, when we talk about, we're so focused on ourselves. What you didn't show up for me, and we're not thinking about every other person, whatever they're going through.
But this is like another layer though. So it's not showing up for me, but it's like, if that person, put yourself in, that person's shoes. Like, your daughter has a special thing, and this person tells you that they're gonna go get some free food instead. So it's not showing up for you. It's not showing up for the grandchild. So does that make it a little different for you?
Well,
or how do you explain that to your daughter then?
So the way I would explain it is, you can't. It's like, to expect anything from anybody is to not understand, right? So to understand means, hey, like if you're asking, hey, like I always give the example, hey, can you pick me up from the airport? And they say, yeah, I'll be there. I'll come get you. And they don't show up. They don't give you an explanation. Obviously, you're going to be like, what, like, if you don't understand, you're going to be like, what happened? What's going on? Literally, the way life works is, like we talked about on our other video, human beings are selfish, right? So, like you said, that's even another way of being selfish, is to say, it's not about me. It's about your grandchild. What? Hey, this is the thing. To do anything for any time another person does anything that doesn't make sense to me, like if I'm the person and somebody does something, the first thing now in my life where I'm at, I think, is obviously there's something going on with them that I don't understand, and it's not meant for me to understand. You know what I mean? Because that's literally the issue. It's nothing to do with me. Think about it like that. Yeah. Whatever is going on, and that's what it can seem like you did, like you did this to me or my daughter, but in reality, it has nothing to do with nobody but them. You know what I mean?
I get what you're saying, and maybe it's a little bit too close to home for me to really have that full pull back.
Yeah.
Because I know these people. So it's hard to be like subjective about it, So, but I do understand that whatever decision a person makes is a reflection on their personality, the way that they are, etc. But I did try to explain to the person that expressed this that it's not personal with you.
That's it.
This person did the same thing to me.
You're not special. That's what we talk about. That's
yeah,
but
but it still does not make it less hurtful that this person doesn't understand. Okay, so this is the thing. A person can do things that are terrible, but if you set a boundary or you speak up for yourself, now you're a bad sister. Now you're a bad daughter.
Yep.
And you guys are terrible. And you know, like it's almost like they guilt trip you and use their position of power to flex, like no accountability whatsoever for what they did. But as soon as you say anything, you can say boo.
Yep.
You know, it's a thing. So I guess that's the thing. Like there's no resolve for what happened, right? Because you're not going to get a straight answer, a legitimate answer, a crazy answer. I'm just saying you're not gonna get a like, yeah, that makes sense out of that.
Never.
So I guess, but that's the frustration though. From like, I'm not talking about somebody that been working on themselves. This is for the masses. So we're not talking about people that have worked on themselves, that understand certain concepts. We are talking to people that day to day, very practical of how to cope and deal without being so, like, I don't want to dismiss nobody's feelings. You know, I don't want to not validate a person for feeling the way they do. So I guess it's hard for me to speak to it because it's like, you're right that the person is the way that they is, but 90% of the time, the person on the receiving end ain't trying to hear it.
Not at all. Like, and that's the thing. That's what I was saying. So remember, every person, every single one of us is selfish. It's just a matter of how we're able to deal with our level of selfishness, right? So if you don't understand that, right? So if you're a human being, like I said, every single one of us is selfish, and you're like, I'm not selfish, and you're the person on the other end where somebody's trying to explain to you what you did wrong, what are you going to say? I didn't do nothing. What are you talking? You're going to get defensive, which is saying it's about me. I don't, like you're hurting the person's feelings are hurt, and then they flip it on themselves because that's all they know. We don't know any better.
Well, I know. I guess another point I want to make too, like, believe it or not, like, people will try, keyword is try, to sabotage or hurt you intentionally. So what do you do, or what do you say to a person that know that whatever was done was mean-spirited? You know what I mean? Like, how do you handle a person that's intentionally being mean to you or is intentionally trying to hurt your feelings? It's not to say that you're taking a bait.
Yep.
And you're being hurt. You know what I mean? So it's like that with me. Like, the situation I told you that we went through when we was about to have the babies. Like, I felt like that was intentional. That was very intentional. But I didn't let it eat me up. And I moved on and I forgave. But how do you tell a person that doesn't have that willpower or that understanding how to cope with that?
So I think the key is, so it's the same situation. We talked about this before, where if you have a person, say if you're from this place and you live this place now, you go back to the place you were from, and the people that know you will say, I remember when you fell or tripped over that wire that one time and you broke your leg, or they're making fun of you. They're talking about something that happened to you in the past to make them feel good about themselves. It's the same way as somebody saying something to you that can hurt your feelings. It's something that they feel like they have over you. Like this is all they have in their life. So it's like when your shoes are untied, so or your pants don't match your shirt. And it's to understand. Remember, it's all about understanding. So to understand is to say, yeah, you're right. Like, literally let them have their moment, because if you're working on yourself and you're constantly being your best self and every day trying to be better, you'll see every situation for what it is. And then the next day you'll wake up and go on about your life. And the next day they'll wake up and they'll still be going through whatever they're going through, because that's the only reason that they were saying whatever they were saying to you. Yeah.
And I guess that's a hard concept to like really understand, is like, you never want to think that about a person that close to you. You know what I mean? And that's kind of what make it stink. Like, You know what I mean? Like, who wants to think that about somebody that you love? So I think that's the hard part about what you said, like to accept that.
Yes.
It's crazy.
It's you know, like, it's hard because it's like you said. So it's interesting. The closer the person is to you, and the more you're working on yourself, unfortunately, what happens is you start to see that before you were working on yourself, yes, you know, people are on this pedestal or whatever, you know, they're you put them wherever they are. I don't care if they're parents, kids, whatever. Like this is my dad, this is my mom, this is my grandma. But the more you start to go deeper inside yourself and work on becoming your best you, it's like it starts to shed where you can literally see that people are like, we're all human beings, and literally we all do whatever we want. Like whatever we want mean, I don't, you know, like I didn't mean to make you, you know, we're not trying to. It's just the nature of a human being and what we talk about, where they grew up, how they live their life, everything they've been through to get to wherever the moment is. They're going to say exactly what's on their mind, or, you know, like express however they feel, and it's going to come out how it comes out. And it's up to us as people that are trying to be better to see it for what it is and to say, I'm in my mind, I don't have to say it out loud, but I know every day I'm being my best self. You know, my shoes don't match.
Yeah, but I guess it's like that, you know, like you have a standard and an expectation for, you know, people to love you. And, you know, I talk about this. Y'all probably hear me say this a lot, but you treat people how you want to be treated, but when that's not reciprocated, it sucks. And it's like the closer the person is to you, the worse it hurt. And it's like the feelings are deeper and real and true, and it's rooted like this is just a one-off situation out of thousands of your life.
Yep.
You know, so I know people probably will resonate with that. Like, it's one more thing that this person has done to frustrate me, and now I'm the bad daughter, I'm the bad sister. If I say, you know what, I don't want to deal with it, but they, you know, because that's my sister. You know, that's my. But they make me feel like crap all the time. You know, they make me feel bad all the time. You know, I get frustrated all the time. You know, and it's just, ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, it's like, to me, to understand, the only thing, it's like, okay, everybody's going through life, right? We're all on our own life journey. And it's like you said, it's frustrating and it doesn't make sense. And to me, what I've learned is it never will. You know what I mean? Like, literally, it's like literally to let go, like we talk about holding on. I'm trying to figure it out. No, you need to explain. I need to understand why you would say or do the things you did. You know, that's what we say to people, but that's holding on to hopefully getting a resolution, right? Or getting an explanation. But the reality, when you let go and let God, like the statement says, is literally like, I don't need that. If I understand that I have God and I'm working on myself and I go deep inside myself to figure out who I am, I'm unstoppable because nobody else can be me. And that's nothing to do with anything on the outside, like reading books or wherever whatever you learn and all this stuff. It's kindness, love, grace, all the things that we already have inside of us, but that we need to bring them out because we don't even know, you know, we're not able to tap into them because we don't know we have them, or they're so deep down because we've been through so much that we don't even know they're there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just tough. It's just tough because, you know, I don't know how many people have went through things like that, but, you know, self-esteem issues is real, and a lot of people suffer from that, and a lot of people never felt love or affection or attention, but everything they've gotten has been toxic. And that could be very draining. So, you know, people, you know, will numb themselves, like we talked about before. Figure out a different way to deal with that stress to numb the pain. And, you know, it's just really sad because you can't talk somebody into believing that they, you know, what they said don't matter, especially if they got it rooted in their heart that it does. So that goes back to that mindset thing. Like, you have to reprogram your mind to understand that whatever you've been telling yourself your whole life about yourself, 90% sure is not true.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever any other person has put in your head about you need to get corrected.
Yep.
You know, because if you find yourself like the questions I posed on TikTok, you know, what's the last 5 places you've been? What's the last 5 books you read? Mm-hmm. Who's the last 5 people you hung out with? What was the last 5 conversations you had? What were they about? You can kind of tell that, like, that's a good way to do an audit on your life. Mm-hmm. Was it arguments? Was it frustration? Was it just a whole bunch of cussing?
There you go.
You know, like, you should be able to tell, but you got to understand, peel the layers back to see, like, what's really going on with me when I'm accepting all this.
Yep.
Or why am I turning to this, or why am I constantly doing that? Like, I think most people don't realize that they really have a choice, and because another choice is not present, or they haven't experienced or seen differently. Mm-hmm. And I think people that they think have a good life has a good life because of their choices. Yes, it has a lot to do with their choices, but it also has to do with what's going on in here first. 100%. Their choices are a reflection of their thoughts and philosophies and what they think about themselves. So anybody that look at it, like we said, anybody that look at anybody that's super successful or feel like they got it going on, it started from somewhere. Yep. They didn't just magically end up where they're at. Their decisions were guided by the way they think about themselves. And when you think about highly of yourself, you're not going to allow things to tear you down. So, you know, I'm a believer of wearing the armor of God. Mm-hmm. If you out here bucking and fighting with people and you're not armed, of course you're going to fall victim to that. Mm-hmm. We all going to fall victim to it, even if we are armored.
There you go.
Because you don't know where your armor's weak at until you get hit.
There you go.
But at least you protected somewhere to start. You know, so that's what I'll say about that.
And I think it's like we talked about this before. Like, we talked about the example of like a person having a lot of sisters and they're really close with them. Mm. And somebody on the outsider would say, man, I wish I was close with my sisters like that. But they don't see on the inside of those sisters in their relationship, there's one that's always doing everything, that's making sure everybody's together, that's literally taking on the heat when somebody's going through it. They call her, and in the person that's looking, they'll say, well, you know, I don't want to deal with that, or, you know, they got on my nerves, so I didn't call them back. That's how they're like that, because when somebody has to be the bigger person in every situation.
Yeah, I mean, what you said remind me, course, the tipping point. Remember, he talked about connectors and mavens and stuff like that. And the connectors are the ones that will call you on your birthday, that have lunch with you. You know, and so most people are not trying to meet with people for lunch or talk to people on the phone or check on people and things like that. So, you know, some people, like you said, some people do own the bulk of communication.
There you go.
Or, you know, bring people together. Mm-hmm. You know, like Linda, she was our connector.
Yep.
We know so many people from her. Yep. She brought people together. People would drop at a dime for her to, cause she's throwing it. Mm-hmm. You know, it ain't been the same since. Yep. Because that was her personality trait. Mm-hmm. So yeah, you're right. Like you just don't know like what goes on behind the scenes. Like even like in a marriage, you think we.
that's perfect example, and that's the thing. So you have people.
I tolerate a lot of stuff. Just
won't.
You do too.
I won't. I called them 5 times. Now it's their turn to call me.
Oh, yeah.
So if I don't call, we'll never talk, because we think in our minds, we think they're thinking, I'm just, you know, I don't care. They called me 5 times. I need to call. I don't know what we're thinking, but we're thinking that the relationship shouldn't be one-sided when the other person is not thinking about that at all. They're thinking about whatever's going on in their life. So it's up to us to just keep calling.
Yeah,
just keep calling. You never know.
You made a good point, because more than likely, the person that's doing a check-in, more than likely, I would just say this, is in a better headspace, unless they call on some bulls just to dump on somebody.
Exactly.
Not that.
Yep.
But if a person that's being a connector, that's calling, check on people, and they're not answering, and they're not doing this and they're doing that, they probably thinking. They probably going through it.
Yep.
It's not personal with you, but sometimes people hide away from their problems.
There you go.
You know, you never know where a person is in their headspace. And then it depends on how you are in your life. So a person may not want to hey, how's it going? And they see you doing good on the internet, and they got to tell you they struggle.
Yep.
A person going to avoid you like the plague.
Yep.
And
it's interesting.
That's real.
That perspective too, because you have one person that is quoting, it's all quote unquote, looks like, it looks like they're like the other person sees them. Oh, they living life. They're living good because they see it on the internet. They don't know what's going on the inside. So it's like to see that, you think that, okay, that person's doing really good. I wish I was there. So I don't even want to be around them. But the reality of it is, if you were to talk to them, you would see that on the surface level, it looks like this person's doing good and this person's doing bad. On the inside, they're at the same place. And if they were to communicate, it'd be like, man, I didn't know you was going through the same stuff. It just looks like it's good on the outside, or it looks bad, and it's like I'm doing pretty good. I thought it was no, it's all on the inside.
It's interesting. Like, you made me think about this conversation I had with someone. So I called one of my friends. I haven't talked to them in a while. So I'm like, hey, how you doing? And then they say, hey, how you doing? I'm like, no, girl, I asked you how you was doing. I called you. They literally flipped the script. Exactly. I'm like, hey, I was meaning to call you. I just didn't get it. I'm like, it's all good. Yeah. But they literally, I'm like, hey, how you doing? No, I'm on the, hey, how you doing? They didn't want to say about how, they didn't want to talk about how they was doing, which is understandable. So I went along with it, but I did catch that,
Yep.
They wanted to, they probably had intentions to call me and check on me, but
yep.
I got a lot of stuff going on, but that's not going to be an excuse.
Hey, man, you hit it on the nose. Like, life is.
I will answer the phone while
man, so the other day I went, first of all, like we talked, like if I were to be talking to anybody, my first thought wouldn't be to dump my, because low key, if a person say, hey, how you doing? Low key, they're waiting for you to say, how are you? Wait a minute. Oh, that's cool. So this is what's going on.
Exactly.
No, that's why I said nobody care about what's going on.
Have y'all ever answered the phone? Hey, how you doing? Yep, it's sunny outside. Let me tell you about this chick. You won't believe what happened. Yep. You like, I'm giving my kids a bath. But anyway, they talking. They don't even know you can't hear them.
Yep.
They don't care. They just need somewhere to put that.
Let it out. Yeah.
And you that girl or you that guy.
Bag. Yeah.
That's okay.
Hey, it is, and that's what I was saying. Like, to understand is to say, it doesn't even matter what I have going on. I'm good because I have God watching over me. I'm in the kingdom of the kingdom of heaven is within me. My life is great because I know it's like this. So if it's up, it's perspective, right? Up, it could look like up, right? It could look like up, but then the next day be like, man, it went down. Like, you thought you were here, then you end up here. And then it can also be you in your mind, it looks like, oh, this is the worst day. Then what happens? Oh man, things drastically change. That's why if you deep down understand, you're not going to worry about surface level, the fluctuations in people's attitudes, the day, the universe, the world. It's all like this. If you stay at that deep level, it's smooth sailing because it's all, I'm happy today. I'm mad today. Well, all right, see you later. See you tomorrow. Basically, if you're talking to all right, see you tomorrow. You come back the next day. I feel good today. Hey, okay. But if I let that affect me, now I'm mad. Now I'm sad, because they were sad. And the next day they're like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, oh, well, you made me sad, but what you said yesterday, well, I'm good. No, that's all your own fault. You took what I gave you and you ran with it when I wasn't trying to give you that. I wasn't trying to put that on you, but I needed to get it off of me, basically.
Yeah, I mean, everybody does that in a way.
Exactly.
So it's funny that you say that. So you got the people that dump, and then there's people that quote unquote call to brag. But it's perspective, right?
There you go.
So if you're not in a good space, you're not trying to hear nobody good news, so they're bragging. And a person might be doing bad, now they're dumping.
Yep.
And then what's a good conversation then?
Ooh, you said it. What's the key to what you just said?
What?
If you are not in a good space, you don't want to hear the good or the bad.
No.
But if you're in a good space, I want to hear everything. Oh,
I do.
That's crazy. Oh, wow, that's great. Like, it don't matter. But if I'm not, I don't Yeah, well, okay. Yeah, okay, yep, you're doing great. But if I'm in a good space, I'm proud of you. I feel bad for you, both. I mean, like, it doesn't matter. I'm good either way.
Yeah. And then that's the thing, like, too, I've been in a situation, I won't say the situation what it was, but I called for validation.
Mm-hmm.
I called somebody for validation, and they were not in a good headspace to talk about it because they had stuff going on. They didn't say that. They just popped off. I'm not trying, like just dismissive. I'm not trying to hear this and that, and I got this going on, and I had no idea that they had stuff going on, and whatever, my wanting validation, which is probably dumping, but we resonate on a certain level.
Yep.
They just weren't trying to hear it. So I guess that's gonna be a nugget to go for somebody too. Like sometimes people don't have time for your stuff because their stuff is just way too deep. And it's not that they don't care. They don't have the capacity to care.
Yes, exactly.
So, my remedy for that is get you a prayer life, get you a journal. I mean, that's what I've been trying to do. You can't tell. And then you can't tell everybody your problems either because their philosophies is going to reflect their actions.
Exactly.
And what they say. And you, since you don't know who you are, you're going to take their advice because you don't have a philosophy. And what does that leave you?
Good luck. You're going to do something, you're like, man, it was horrible. Well, I mean, that's how I would have did it. So I got nothing to do. You did what you did. I told you what to do. If it didn't work out, and then it's not my life. Like,
yeah. So So sometimes, like when you listen to people or hear people advice, I would almost ask the question to myself, like, where is this answer coming from? Right.
Mm-hmm.
So you gotta know yourself. So
that's the most important thing.
Yeah. So if I don't know, what are some things that we disagree on? So I guess if I what's a good one? I guess if I was making a sandwich and I asked Robert how much mayo to put on it, he's gonna say this much. And I don't like mayo like that. So my philosophy, the way I think about mayo, is like I want this much. Am I gonna take his advice? Absolutely not. You know what I mean? That's silly, but yeah. Or you ask me, is something spicy? I can't tell you.
Yep.
I literally say that.
Your threshold.
Yeah, I can't tell you how spicy something is. You have to taste it for yourself. That's life.
That's the only way to live life.
That's
you
life.
Have to try. I can always say you could have just had it yesterday. You still have to try it again because it might taste different. You might have learned something, been enlightened by something.
And that's life too. I guess maybe that's why they call it the spice of life. Because, for example, as we know, all peppers are not created equal. That same big fat juicy looking jalapeno tastes like a bell pepper today.
Yep.
Why? Because it's a different. It's different. It tasted
good today.
It's different.
Yesterday it burned my mouth, so I'm not going to try it today because of what happened yesterday.
Right.
And the key is you can't worry about how it tasted yesterday. You can't worry about how it may taste tomorrow. All you can do is try it again today. Every day, literally every day, try it again. Try it again.
Yeah, but even like with that analogy, it's like that's still perspective too. Where did it grow?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
How long was it in the ground? What type of seed it was the mother that it developed from? Was it a male or female pepper? All these different components make a different pepper. So that's true. That holds true. So yeah, that's a good example of like how you think about things and who you ask advice from. You should at least have a core belief that drives it. So so for me, to get marriage advice from somebody based on my values, I would want somebody that aligns with what I believe. Unless I'm trying to change my mind. Because you're going to do what you want to do anyway.
That's it. Yeah.
So,
point blank period.
Yeah. Yeah. So either you're going to be wise and listen and take heed and weigh the options. But, typically people just want to hear what they already think.
They want to hear how they want to be valid. Nobody wants to hear your opinion.
Nah.
We want to hear you say what we were. That's exactly what I was thinking. Then they go do the thing.
Oh yeah.
Now, if you say the opposite,
that's pretty much what couples therapy is all about. Anyway, is to who was right or who was wrong or who should apologize or, you know, and the therapists don't care. They're going to say, are they going to listen? Nah, I'm going to move on to the next one. Are they going to listen? Who the one going to be in? It ain't about who right or wrong. Who's the one that's more flexible?
You remember? So we keep coming up with references and examples.
What?
Do you remember when we watched the movie?
What movie?
The Mummy. Remember my man? He had he
had a Buddha, a cross, Star David.
He said, which one you want? He was holding it up to the zombie.
He said, that one.
Oh,
bingo.
You believe in so he said, yeah, I sure do.
He said, oh, you a slave. You good. Come on.
You can come with me. Now, I'm not going to kill you because.
Yeah. You know me. Yeah. That's a good one.
In life, I mean, literally, that's the thing. I'm 100%. Hey, you can do whatever you want, but understand that you're not. The only person you're hurting is yourself with whatever choices you make or decide not to make. Nobody else cares about you but yourself, right? So if you're thinking that I'm doing this for this person, I mean, that's cool, but if you're gone or you're not here, or your mind, you lose control in your mind where you're flipping out or you're aggressive, you have to look out for yourself. Look out for your mind. Take care of your mind first, because if you don't take care of your mind, I wanted to make sure I wasn't thinking about myself. Well, now you're sitting in jail because you didn't act it out. And the other person's like, yeah, well, thanks. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So
thanks for looking out.
I guess to bring the conversation home is to say, what, Robert? Just understand that your core beliefs drive you.
Yep.
So to know you need to know your core beliefs, because your decisions and how things work out for you too kind of reflect that. So if you don't really feel like you are capable or something, it's going to show in your performance. If you don't really believe that this relationship is going to work, it's going to, it's going to yeah.
If you don't believe, the key word is believe, right? So if you don't believe it doesn't matter whether I don't really know. Well, it's not going, it's literally, it will never work out if you don't think it will.
Right. And as far as like critical thinking and problem solving and things like that, it's kind of like the example of what solution do you want? Mm-hmm. Do you want things to be positive? Do you want a great outcome? Or do you want chaos or conflict? And you got to put your ego and everything to the side and get to your core beliefs. So sometimes, I'm going on a little tangent, but sometimes even with your spouse, it could be war. Mm-hmm. And the words are flying and the back and forth is coming. But in your heart, I love this person. I want to be with them. But the way you fight, it does not reflect that at all, because your ego is in it. Mm-hmm. But if you put that to the side and go to your core beliefs, like I love this person, mm-hmm. and I want to be with this person, and I want a resolution for whatever this thing is, you're going to have to put that to the side, because you're for the solution, not for yourself. It's for the marriage, not for you.
Yep. Right?
It's not about you. It's for a marriage.
And it's
or whatever the thing may be. That's just an example since we're sitting here.
It's for it's like literally like a basketball game, or like the finals are going on, but like a basketball game in the first quarter. Oh, it was rough. Yeah. We were down 20 points. Now, if you're like same a marriage in the first 3 years, it's over with now. Like the game, man, we done. We lost, right? We lost the game. But if you stay like the great players, you stay true to your core beliefs. You believe in yourself. You're not looking at the score or nothing. It doesn't matter. Nothing matters. You're just staying true. Like in the marriage, same thing. You're just staying true to yourself, being kind, being loving. Over time.
Yeah, but that's a good point too, Robert. Like when we got married, our core belief was like we wanted to be married, mm-hmm. right? Yep. Like we believed in marriage. Like it
There you go.
was, we wanted, we were young, but yeah, like when I said I do, I cried because I'm like, this is it. I cried like a baby when we got married because I knew that, like, it wasn't like I cried because it was bittersweet because I knew this was my husband and whatever, I gave that up, you know, whatever. I didn't even have nothing to give, but I knew this was it. That was that commitment. That's why I shed a tear, because I was in it. And he was so serious. Like you remember? How were you looking at me?
Really serious.
It wasn't no cameras. It wasn't no phones then. It was like 19 years ago. But he was like so intense about it.
Yeah.
He was very serious when he said his vows. Like we remember in our head, and the commitment stuck, or it's sticking.
And that's the thing. Like that's, like it's not, like I said, the first quarter down 20 points is rough. Like I always use like Steph Curry as an example. He doesn't lose focus, right? And focus is the same as presence, right? It's the same thing. So to be present means I'm aware of what's happening. I understand, even if it is rough, it's just the surface level, right? The commitment, the love, that's deeper than the surface, right? Yeah. That's deep. So to go deep means what? If it's a marriage, this is one day. Tomorrow's a different day. Yeah. Yesterday's gone. We can't. Last week it don't mean nothing.
That's the whole parable of like, what is your house built on? Yep. You wanted your house built on a rock. So core beliefs, like we both believe in God. I mean, we take it a little bit more seriously now, but core belief, both believe in God. Another core belief, we both believe in marriage. Another core belief, we both wanted families. Another belief, maybe not a belief, but being open-minded people, or willing to grow and experience different things. Those are things. Those are things that are good foundation, or having a level of respect for one another. Like we don't call each other bad names. We don't hit each other. We don't. It's just a certain boundary or a certain level of respect that we don't cross. Some couples don't. And it's something that we didn't have to spell out. It was established because of who we were as individuals and us coming together collectively. It just ended up being the way it was. So I'm sure when we were dating, like you understood certain things about me that you liked, and I liked certain things about you, which probably was what we didn't know then were reflected our core beliefs. Like Robert's a nice guy. He's respectable. He's likable. Those are things that I liked about, and it still holds true to this day. So you got to understand that. So if he talk crazy to you when you're dating, he gonna talk crazy to you when you're married. If he call you out your name while you're dating, he gonna call you out your name while you're married. If he hit you or abusive, it's gonna perpetuate. So you gotta look for the signs. If he's generous with a bag of chips, he's gonna be generous with $10 million. If he's not generous with a bag of chips, he's gonna definitely be stingy with $10 million. You best believe that, right? Would you? Yep. So I mean, that's the thing.
It's one of those things where everybody's that's not me is an NPC, like we talk about. If you're not your NPC, you're going to stick true to what you can't be anything other than what you are, right? Every single day of your life. Every person on the planet, we're all going to revert back to what we know.
Oh, yeah.
And the only thing I can do, I can't control not one other person. The only thing I can do is work on myself to the point where people see me as this. I know I'm starting to be this, regardless of what they say. If I feel on the inside I'm being, I'm better than I was, they'll see it eventually. I mean, and even if they don't, it doesn't matter. I know.
But what you're talking about is confidence and intrinsically okay with you. Exactly. So that's one thing that I feel that is the ultimate blessing, to be free from people. Like the brand Free People.
Yep.
Free from
exactly.
To be free from people. Like you go somewhere and you don't you go in certain rooms or certain spaces, you feel like an intensity or you feel like you don't belong there, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you've seen me in those spaces, like going to the Cheesecake Factory. What was the name of that Cheesecake Factory?
Oh, the Grand Lux.
Going to the Grand Lux Lounge.
Chicago.
Yeah. I didn't even think I was good enough to be up in the Grand Lux, okay, acting a fool because I thought I was being judged, but that was my own personal insecurities. But now going to spaces, I don't care. Like, even if you can't be snooty to me because I don't care. It's gonna bounce right off. I don't even see it. I don't even see it, and I thank God for that. Even if you are, it don't matter to me because that's more to do with you.
That's it.
Something about my presence does that to you. Why? Ain't got nothing to do with me. God bless you.
That's it.
But that don't even we don't even get that type of reception. No way though.
It's
nothing but love where we go.
You're only going to see what you're looking. People be mean. That's what you're gonna see. You're gonna see mean people. People are literally going to be mean to you. Now, a person can literally be trying to be mean to me, right?
Mm-hmm.
I won't even see. I won't even acknowledge. And how does that? Like we said. To fight, you have to have two people, right? One person has to be fighting, the other person has to be fighting back. If nobody's fighting back, you're fighting yourself.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, when you are genuinely a loving, kind person, you can look past a person's faults and see their needs. Mm-hmm. Like, this is one time. Remember, we went to House of Blues. Remember, the bartender was so nasty to me.
Yeah.
Oh, she didn't want to take my drink order. And she was so pretty. She had it going on, but something about me, she was just like, yuck. But I felt like she saw something that she didn't have. Mm-hmm. And that messed with her. And that ain't have nothing to do with me. I still was nice and kind to this woman. But sometimes your sweetness, your goodness, your whatever the thing may be, it may be polarizing to somebody. So everybody's not going to like you, and you got to be okay with it. But sometimes, you just got to know, the extreme type behavior is more of a reflection of what's going on with that person. So if somebody's extremely mean to you and you know you're in a good space and you're nice, it's something about you that's convicting or challenging that person. You know what I mean? So you can bring up a lot of people's stuff up when they see you. So we talked about, if somebody's attacking you and bringing up your past, it's something about your presence now that's making them feel some type of way where they got to humble you. Yes. You know what I mean? I'm a snub you because you think you the stuff. No, you think I'm the stuff. And you feel like since you see whatever, you got to put me back in my place. But you can't put nobody in a place that's know who they are.
So you just made me, and you made me think, and it's interesting, it sounds like to me, whenever you interact with a person that's not you, right? So you being you or me being me, whenever I interact with any person on the planet, it's either three situations. One, they're mean-spirited or they're in a bad mood, which is a reflection of how they feel on the inside. Yeah. They're in a good mood, which is also a reflection of how they feel on the inside, or they're neither, and they're just which is also, it's never nothing to do with me, how they're being with me, right? However mean, nice, nasty, however it is, but I can take it as you said that to me, but in reality, no, it's how you feel about yourself.
But sometimes too, your light can bring joy and happiness to people, and sometimes your light can illuminate somebody's darkness. That's something that comes with the territory. So, if a person's being weird with me, I don't take it as, what did I do today? I don't look at it at all, because I understand that. I understand that polarization. You know what I mean? So that's just how it is. It's a reflection of what's going on with the person, and
it's not personal. It's nothing. Even if they're saying your name, talking directly to you, it's still nothing to do with you, because it's how they feel about it. It's not you. It's their feelings about you, right? And it's something going on with them that's making them feel that way. But what we do is we'll say, no, but they're talking to me, so they're making me feel bad. They're making themselves feel worse. That's literally what's happening.
Yeah.